Obviously, this has been a day that I've been looking forward to to happening.
Oh,
Yeah, so yeah,
me too.
it's a very good day for me. Has a has some weight, but yeah. To just start off, obviously we've been like probably connected for a while now, for some months now. But yeah, I can't even remember how we interacted for the first time. So, um, but yeah, obviously your writing is something that I really admire. Your stories, you're very authentic on Substack. So yeah, just tell me about, yeah, just how you started with being on being online, being like just started writing on Substack. Of course, this is joint custody, Candy Downs, but yeah, it's more of like just a bit of like background for everyone who is not following you, which they should.
Yeah, they should be.
Yeah, right.
Rude if you're not. So,
Yeah, yeah.
and France too, because
Mm.
I just have to say, like, I adore you on Substack. I don't know even how we found each other,
Yeah, I
but
can't remember.
I'm so happy that we did. Like, it's such a gift to have you. And there's so many good people, but yeah, I adore you. So
Oh,
I'm so
thanks.
happy to talk to you
Mhm.
today. Um, yeah, I just, I started writing about a year ago and on Substack. And then in like May, I was just bored and Instagram was boring. So I was like, I'm just gonna like post notes and see how that goes. And so I think that's when we found each other, was probably in the spring when I started posting notes on there.
Oh,
And then that really grew um a lot of my readers and more importantly a lot of my friends on there. So I really think, for if I can just jump off with some advice for people, if you're trying to grow your Substack, you got to post the notes, you got to
yeah.
comment on people's stuff. Like, that's how I got to know you, was just you commenting on my notes. And people are like, oh, I don't want to promote myself, and it's not promotion as much as just connection, I think.
Absolutely.
So I think people that are not seeing a growth that they want and they're just diligently writing and writing and writing, that's so wonderful. But if you have a goal to get more subscribers, then you really got to hustle on that note section, I
Right.
think.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think
And in a,
it's well connected right now. It's like if you're only posting, which you pointed out, it's kind of like you're just shouting at an empty space. But yeah, if you start really directly connecting with people and commenting on, like, I think I found one of your first, well, the one first, like, forerunner, I think, was one of those first ones that I encountered,
oh,
and
yeah.
I was like, yeah, for me, I resonated with what you were sharing. And yeah, it's probably one of those things that I it's refreshing, because I mostly was following a lot of fiction writers, but for me, your stories were as interesting as a lot of the stories that were like fictional. So yeah, it's something that I really had
Oh,
to
thank
commend
you.
you on that one. But yeah, with Substack, how did you decide to just get on to writing? Have you always written as a kid? When like, what's your experience with just doing that?
Um, I always wanted to write, and I think it was one of those things where I secretly wanted to write, but I didn't really know. I don't know how to explain it. It was just one of those things you have in the back of your mind that you want to write, or you want to say something, you have something to say. And my whole life, I didn't really know what that was. And when I was younger, I used to write like, so I have a teenage son, he's 15. And I was going through some old boxes of stuff, and I found some old like poetry books I had from when I was 15.
Oh, that's
And
nice.
he was reading through them, and he was like, wow, you certainly had a broken heart for someone that never had a boyfriend. I was like, okay, rude. You can
Rude.
still feel heartbreak without ever knowing a boy yet.
Right, right, exactly. Unrequited love exists.
Yeah, hello, rude. Um, but so yeah, other than just some like, sad poetry, as a teenager, I never really wrote anything. And then when COVID hit and I shut down my hair salon, I was like, oh, what am I going to do with my life? So I enrolled in nutrition school. I thought, oh, maybe I'd be a health coach because I've loved dieting forever. Maybe I can make some money at that. And then I didn't want to do that. And so I was just really lost and in a weird space in my life. And I read, I mean, this could be cliche, but it's great. I read The Artist Way and I started writing those morning pages every damn day as soon as I rolled out of bed. And I did that for a couple years. But I mean, when you're writing, it's stream of consciousness, right? Like that stuff, I haven't even opened them. It's absolute slop. There is nothing couldn't even like get a sentence out of there. It's just, but it opens up your creative pathways, I think.
Mm.
So, one night I just woke up in the middle of the night and was like, I have an idea for a novel. So I did that. There's like this thing called, like, it's a November challenge where you
Yeah,
write 50,000 words in November with a bunch of other writers. So I did that and I just wrote this fiction novel that's still
cool.
half done.
Oh,
And
nice.
and then I was like, okay, I've never read fiction in my life. Like, this was never anything that I thought, and obviously of like so much of it is actually true, but as fiction is. But I wrote this novel, just I don't know where it came from. It was just dropped into my mind. So I wrote this novel and then I spent a couple years just like, what am I going to do with this? What does this mean? Like, am I a writer? What is this? What do I want to do? And I really didn't know. And so I thought, okay, I need to keep working on this book, but I couldn't make myself sit back down and work on it. And I was like, I need something to inspire me to write this book and to become a better writer, because I'm not a writer. I've never, I don't know, like I could barely sit through an English class in high school. Like, my son corrects my grammar when he's asking me like, oh, can you edit something? He's like, well, that's a preposition. And I'm like, okay, a what now? Like, I have no idea how to do any of it. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to write a couple funny little stories. I had like a Substack from years ago, which I don't know why, but I was like, oh, already have one, but there's nothing on it. So I wrote a couple little stories in September of last year.
Hmm.
And my ex-husband, JC, was like, I asked him and my son's dad, Larry, I was like, can I write about you guys and can I use your real names or do you want me to change your names? And they were both like, oh, just use our names. No one's going to read that. Nobody reads anymore. No one's like, whatever. Like, we don't care. They're just like, if you're going to get off the couch and do something, do something. Like, say whatever you want. They both gave me like carte blanche to say anything I wanted about them. And I'm like, okay, well, now I'm motivated. You guys
Yeah,
are in trouble.
thank you.
And so yeah, I was like, okay, well, my little wheels are turning. Um,
Excellent.
and yeah, so then I wrote a couple little stories, and JC was like, okay, but if you're gonna write about me, you have to tell people that you're writing. And I was like, well, that wasn't the deal. And he's like, no, yeah, that's the deal. Like, you have to post these, you have to promote these, you have to let your friends know that you're writing. And I was like, fine. And then, rip the band-aid off, post on Instagram, have like, four of your actual friends follow you. It's like
That's
all
how
of
it
my
starts.
subscribers, all of my lovely subscribers are mostly from Substack. I have a few good loyal IRL people, but mostly I'm supported by all the lovely Substack people that I found, which is amazing.
Yeah, and absolutely. Like, for me, it's funny how you mentioned COVID, the pandemic. It's kind of like really also started, the wheels turning in my head as well with fiction writing. And I didn't really even start before that. I've never been I would say I've never really even thought of a story in my head. I've never really like from beginning to end like work up a story. So interesting how I think COVID really helped us, review all of our, whatever is coming into our heads, and whatever is like, it gave us an introspection. I think an opportunity to think about, the stuff that we really want to do creatively. I don't know, but yeah,
Mhm.
something that, yeah, it has really helped us. I guess if there's something that could, is a good takeaway from that experience as a whole, is I think it helped us with reviewing where our lives going, and where do we want to take ourselves towards. So yeah, I totally resonate with your story, and how you even started writing stories. But yeah, tell me about your first few like posts, because you said you started writing about your life uh, on joint custody. But what were the stuff that you had to learn the hard way? Like, what were the, the mistakes perhaps that you had to like, okay, what do I do to, maybe grow my audience? Did you even think about that at first, or you just wanted to use that as a release?
Yeah, well, first of all, I had no idea that you just start writing during COVID? Like
Stories, yeah.
the same time? Or did
Yeah, around the same time, yeah.
Wow.
It's around 2021 or 2. Yeah, it's probably pretty recent that I discovered, like,
Uh
I think I want to write some stories, and just like really snowballed from there. That was like one of those revelations in my that I didn't really expect.
ah, that's amazing.
But yeah, I have been
And what do you
writing. I've been writing nonfiction, mostly like articles in magazines. But it's never
yeah.
been in my radar to ever write fiction ever. So it
I
was really one of those things. Just came out of nowhere.
I love that. I love that. And I'm so like I said before, I never read fiction. Like if I was going to read a book, it was self-help or like,
Yeah.
something to like, I thought, okay, I need something practical. I'm busy. I need to learn this, whatever it was. I mean, even if it was like, woo woo shit, but like I never was into fiction, and now I'm so into fiction. Like, I'll just do a plug. I just read Bobby's book.
Yeah, I just got that
I
one. I
just have it
haven't
right
have
here.
it in my
Strung Out
copy
on
yet.
Plenitude.
How is it?
I'm obsessed with it. I'm
Mm.
obsessed with it. It's so it's so good. I'm still thinking about it. That's how you know. And I find myself with fiction stories. I'm thinking about them for days and weeks and months after, much more than when I read nonfiction. Like
Right?
nonfiction, I'm like, okay, I've learned this, I've felt this, I've gained something from this. But fiction, it just like it keeps percolating in your mind, I think. And that to me is what also drives my creativity is reading. Like your fiction stuff is so good. Your last
Mm.
story with Queenie, I'm obsessed. I need that to be a whole like uh
So
you
much,
know
yeah.
children's book, but for like mid age children. Like I think that's so cool, and
You're
I'm
too
so
nice.
excited.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm gonna need you to write more.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
No,
Yeah,
no, no, it's true.
I mean,
Honestly,
obviously, it's something that, yeah, probably I was on a streak a couple of years back, so it was something that I really wanted to like translate into something like I want to publish it. But yeah, that's so nice for you to like comment. I mean, this is about you, man. It's not about me.
oh no, I mean, no, and honestly, I don't give compliments unless I mean them. I might look really nice, but it has to be something I really enjoy for me to
Oh, thank you,
compliment it.
Kevin.
So
So
you
nice.
know, you know it's the truth. But No, I love reading your stuff, and I can't wait to read more of it. So
Thank you. I mean,
it's
always
so
learning.
fun for me.
I think that's something that we learned along the way with Substack. The more we're writing, even though it's something sometimes you just want to just put out and it's not perfect, the mere fact that you're always thinking about writing, like thinking like, okay, what's the next topic that I want to write about, what's the next story that I want to write about, it's
Hmm.
always towards improvement. And I think that's something that you cannot have a shortcut. You just have to just keep writing, right?
Yeah, and how do you, like, I know how I get like a idea. Like, how does it work for you when you get an idea? Where does the idea come from? Where does the seed start? Where do you grow it? Like, what's your process?
I guess for me, I really like more character based. um,
Mm.
Obviously you have to put them in a different scenario, like something that is like unusual, but I always just stick to characters, like what type of like conflict they're having. Because a lot of people, maybe some writers, they're more of like, okay, this, they go about the scene first, the setting first. But for me, it's I really
Hmm.
like to tie it in with relationships, with family, with friendships and things like that. So it's like, yeah, it's really just starts from there. I think I'm more towards, okay, what the reader has to feel after they read the story. I guess that's more of like, I have to stick to something that they would resonate, even like no matter where, what setting they're put in, the characters. So I think that's probably how I always start when I'm thinking about stories. Like, okay, and then obviously sometimes I think that's what I like about short stories, that which I just discovered that I need to work on it, because I'm more of like very like talkative. I'm yappy when I'm writing, so I have to like edit myself. But with short
Oh
stories
yeah.
you kind of like are limited with, or at least I try to be a bit more like Hemingway, where you cannot just say everything, right? You just have to let the readers interpret your story, however they want to interpret it. So I think that I just leave some stuff unsaid, unwritten. So it's more of
Mm.
like that. But yeah, it's like really has been very enlightening for me, because short stories are more restricted with like one plot, and then you're kind of like just going with the flow, and you just really don't know how it ends. And that's something that I discovered and really enjoy with writing stories. I kind of really don't know how it's gonna end. So yeah, I like that part. Because with novels, I think you have to be more like, you
Yeah.
have to be conscious with the outlining, because otherwise, it's a lot of writing that you don't really realize it, and it might go to waste if you're more of like a pantser. And but yeah, that's with short stories, I get to have more fun, I think, with that. So that's something else I realized, that it's more freewheeling.
Yeah, definitely. No, I see that. And I love that you start with a character and figure out who the person is and then decide what they will be doing. Like, I really
And yeah,
enjoy
I
that.
mean,
And it
did,
comes through in your writing.
oh, but yeah, but your story, obviously I'm curious about your story. I mean, are you still like writing it as like in your spare time, the novel that
Oh,
you, yeah, that you're
the
working on?
the novel, I really want to go back to it. I want to, this next year I want to publish a joint custody book and really just um edit a bunch of the stories, because right now I just kind of like balls to the wall, I write whatever I want. So a lot of it is like my personal stuff, and then some of it's about my exes and other stuff. So I want to write a joint custody book this year that's some of the stuff I've shared, some of the stuff I haven't shared,
Mm.
but really focused on this specific period and time of me having to sell my house, having to move in with my exes who I haven't lived with for over a decade, not one, but two of them, like
Amazing.
separately. But I wish I could get them to move in together and I could live by myself. Like this whole dynamic that the three of us have, even still now, is so funny. and I really want to just put this into like a, you know, a humor book of essays. And then, yeah, I would like to go back to my fiction
Mm,
novel, but I was, you know, I was so green that, and I still am. But I just thought, oh, it's only 50,000 words. I have to make it 100,000 words. I have to get an agent. I have to get this. I have to get that. And I was just putting up all these mental roadblocks to this story. And now I know that I can I can self-publish something that's 50,000 words. I can self-publish something that's 20,000 words. Whatever the story wants to be,
yeah,
it will be. And
absolutely.
overwriting, you know, all this nonfiction for Substack,
Mm,
it really taught me that when it's done, it's done. Like when I'm writing something now, it tells me when it's done. Like
right?
I don't push it. Like I get an idea for something. Usually when I'm about to fall asleep is when my brain airdrops the things into my head. And
Mm,
then I roll over in the dark and grab my phone and type in my notes app, like just straight gibberish. Uh, and then over the next week, I kind of come around to it and come back to it and think about it over the week. And when things pop in my head, I write a paragraph here, a paragraph there. And then I'll take like a Saturday and I'll go, okay, now you're going to sit down and do this. And I sit down and I rearrange the paragraphs kind of like
mm,
Tetris blocks
yeah.
and add stuff and delete stuff. And then when it's done, it just, I don't know, it just tells me this is done. We're done here.
Yeah, we're
And then
done.
we're done here. And I usually post it and then I read it on my phone where I find a million more typos
Right.
and stuff that I want to change. And then I usually wait a little bit before I email it because the email is the like that stays emails stay forever. So
Yeah.
those typos stay forever. You
Yeah.
can't change the email typos. So I usually wait a couple hours after I've looked it over and then I shoot it off into an email and then I'm done with it. Like I love it. It is what it is. There it lives. Goodbye. I'm on to the next thing.
That's
And then I
absolutely.
do it again.
I didn't even notice. I mean, didn't even know that you could delay the emailing. Sorry, but yeah, it's just like more of like, I
Yes,
oh
there's an option so you can just publish it to Substack and it'll show up on your profile
right,
and the people that are like, you know, seeing you in your feed and stuff will see it. And so sometimes, you know, you'll get readers poking around in there
yeah,
while you're still editing it. But I find for me, I really have to see it
first,
posted. I
right.
really have to see it, read it on my phone,
Mm,
read it on my phone in the app, read it on my phone in an email, because I can read something 400 times, like the last one, and I wrote TOO instead of TWO, like in the first sentence. And it's like spell check's not gonna catch that. And my brain has read that and gone, fine, that looks good. That looks good. That looks good until until the 200th person has read it, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I look like an idiot straight off the bat. Perfect. It's best to just get that out there so people know what to expect.
we
Just set
always
the bar low.
yeah, we always we always like kind of like catch it when it's too late. Like if already like it's out in the open, and those are like some
Hmm.
silly typos. Even like, how could I not have seen
Hmm.
that one? But yeah, it's reality. It has happened to me so many times. Also, like right when you hit publish, it,
Yep.
everything just becomes so clear. Like you have
You
some
find the worst
typos.
ones.
Yeah.
What's comforting to me is I'm a fast reader and I assume everyone kind of just we know and so we kind of read through things fast. So I'm like, okay, everybody else probably just skimmed that too. Their brain is just working as fast as mine and they're not trying to edit it for me. So that's what gives me hope. But
and also
I don't
for
know.
and also for me, like at least I put it out there. I mean, obviously there's gonna be some typos, but in reality, none of this would matter as long as you keep like shipping those pieces or those posts. I think that's what's important. I think.
Yeah.
Does it? Does
And
it?
for people to understand too, like,
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, for people to understand too, like, this isn't my book. When I make my book, I'm going to have editors and people
Yeah.
reading my book and going, okay, no, no, no. So it's not that I am cavalier with this. I really put my time and energy into posting on Substack. I want it to be as best as I can, but also if I wait forever for things to be perfect, I'm not going to post anything. And
Exactly.
so I have to post it. I can't think about what people are going to how people are going to react. I can't think about if it's perfect, if it's on brand. I just have to post it.
Yeah, I think sometimes you are the worst critic of your work, and sometimes you just gotta have to get over it, right? That's like really the harsh reality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does it?
And
Yeah,
I see a lot of people are paralyzed by preciousness, and they're not getting their work out there because it is taking them so long to make sure everything's perfect. And I get that. You should be an editor, like also write, but like this is you kind of have to have you kind of have to let your creative brain drive
that's
this
true.
one,
Yeah.
right?
Do you
Hmm.
have those? Do you have those like in your you have a lot of posts and about different parts of your life, relationships, but are there some stories that are off limits to you, like, or do you have any, like, you don't have any, like, yeah, do you don't have any like rules about that? Like, do you feel like that's something that you're going to tackle at some point in your writing?
I don't think I have anything that's off limits. There's people that I would write about, but like I use a nickname for them,
Mm,
just like ex-boyfriends. But there's definitely like big relationships I haven't written much about yet because I don't know how I would tackle that. I mean, all my ex-boyfriends are subscribers. So it's not just the two I write about, like all of them are. So
that's so
it's you
nice.
kind of have to you is it? I mean, the one that's a paid subscriber, that's really nice.
Yeah, right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry I broke up with you. Uh um but you kind of you like I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm going to have to get over this shyness." Like they're reading if I hold back what I post, I'm never going to post anything. So
Mm,
I'll use like nicknames. Um I don't really write about my son, which I thought I really would, and he doesn't care. He would be happy if I wrote about him.
really? That's
But
nice.
he's a and he's so supportive, but also he's a high schooler, and I think that in a couple years once he's 18 and out of like the firing zone of teenage teasing, then maybe I'll write more about him, because certainly if any of his friends found his Substack or my Substack, they would there would be a lot of like fuel for the fire.
That's
So
true, yeah. I think, yeah,
I
good
I
decision. Just delay
yeah,
it for a couple of years, and
I
then
keep him a
you're
little
okay.
private.
Yeah, yeah. But is it
Yeah,
some?
also he's such like he's I was just gonna say he's such an incredible kid that I don't know if words could do him justice. And that's the other thing. Like I don't know if I could describe him on paper. And so I think maybe one day, maybe when he's a grown up.
And probably like do you ask all your friends, like, hey, I want to write about you, is that okay? Did you have to ask for permission from others, or it's like something like, as long as you
Um,
change their names, it's okay?
no, I use all their real names.
Nice.
And most of the time I think they love it. Um, my friend Mandy, who's on Substack now too, and I'm so proud of her, Mandy Peterson. So you guys should all subscribe to her, because she's gonna pay me back with some stories. I'm sure it's all fair. But no, I never asked. I never asked her. I never asked my sister. They're just fair game.
Mm.
But my other friends, I did say like, "Hi, I'm gonna tell a story about when you fell asleep in the bar. Is that okay?"
That was funny.
And of course,
Oh,
Jancy's like, "I don't care." She's like, "Great." She's like, "Perfect. Do what you want to do." So they're really supportive and
yeah,
great.
that's a
And
great friend
I
right
keep a
there.
lot of,
Mhm.
she is a great friend. I keep a lot of, our worst stories private for when we're like in our 60s, and then we'll post those.
Yeah, I'll be like
Yeah.
liking and commenting on my old
Yes.
self at 16.
Yes, exactly.
Oh
When
yeah.
we're all living in a commune together after all the
Yeah,
husbands are
right.
gone. The
It's
dream, the
inevitable, yeah.
absolute, the friend dream. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, does it make, because writing is something that's like you have to be in in a mindset where you're drafting in a quiet place wherever you're comfortable, like maybe in your room, or maybe you're in a
Mhm.
car wash, which I think I remember you doing when you were
Yeah,
writing or
yeah.
finishing. But is it a lonely endeavor for you? Because it's it's something that you're in your head all the time whenever you're writing, or even when you're just thinking about a topic. Does it get
Mhm.
lonely?
I think that I was thinking about this yesterday, and I think that I spend a lot of time with people. I'm very rarely alone. Not a lot of people, but my kid, we're very close. And before last year, I homeschooled him throughout COVID,
Mm.
and so I don't have a lot of like time for myself or alone time. So I have to kind of make it by spending time in my own head. And I noticed yesterday, I was thinking, like, to talk to you about, I was like, I wonder if other writers are just quite literally having these like fake conversations in their head all day long of like
Sounds
what their
about right.
characters might say. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, am I going crazy, or is this like part of the creative brain where you're just thinking all day long? So I feel like externally I'm very surrounded with people, and then internally I feel like I'm a loner in my own head, and I'm constantly kind of like thinking these imaginary stories and thoughts and conversations. So I think that writing kind of, I think I was always like that as a little girl. I lived with, we had a lot of kids, a lot of extra kids, and I hated that. I just wanted to, my dream, and I used to pray at night, was to be an only child, which is awkward when you already have siblings. So I was like, please, someone take me to another family.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
I just want to be alone. So now I'm giving my child my childhood of my dreams.
Solo
But
kid.
I think that, yeah, my way of like finding center in a house of chaos when I was a little kid
Mm.
was just kind of going inside my own head and just kind of like imagining and finding that like space for myself when there was no physical space for myself. And yeah, it's just kind of continued into
Yeah,
adulthood.
it
Hmm.
continues to adulthood, but is it
Yeah.
something that you feel like your kid is also like probably thinking about? Did he inherit any of your like loner? I don't even know if it's called a loner, being a loner, but yeah, is he like a more of a
Yeah.
social?
No, I thought that, like, I thought, oh, maybe he wants to have a big family, wants to have siblings, and wants to have this. But growing up, he spent a lot of time at my mom's house, and he got that. She always lived in, even when her kids moved out, she had other kids and other people and stuff. So my son got a lot of that energy
Hmm.
growing up. So he likes like he loved that. That's the favorite his favorite, part of his childhood was being at my mom's house, and there's, chickens running in and out,
That's
and
fun.
dogs and cats and people, and yeah, the most fun grandma ever. So, but he's more like me. We like a lot of like quiet time. We like a lot of cozy. We like baking and watching movies, and a lot of that stuff. So I'm lucky that he's not a kid that like wants a lot of action in his days.
And
He does a lot of stuff.
he supports your writing, so he understands like there's a lot of like merit in whatever it is you're doing. Like it fulfills your creativity, so he understands it. I think that's very admirable, and very mature, at 15, right? Because
Yeah,
like,
he's always been kind of a little miniature grown up, and it's just continued on as he's become a teenager. I was so afraid to have a teenager, but every year it just honestly gets better and better. And he's really creative. He's a brilliant writer, which of course he'll
mm,
never probably want to write ever in his life. But he likes his own time and his own space. When he was little and he was upset, he would just ask if he could have some alone time and just like go in his room. And I was like, okay, same. I want that too. Bye.
we'll
So
get along just
I think,
fine.
yeah, yeah, and we do. So it's it's nice, but I mean, you usually do what your parents, the opposite, at least you try, and then we turn into our parents anyways.
Exactly. Oh
But
my gosh,
he'll probably get married and have 20 kids or something and have the house like my mother's house with the chickens running in and out. So
that's
who
cute.
knows?
I like that vision. You mentioned something about
Yeah.
whenever you're about to go to sleep and then you're like, oh, I have to write this down, which I also get, by the way. But yeah, what keeps you up at night is one of those questions that I like asking other creatives on Substack.
Um, Usually like dumb stuff I've done in my life. That's what keeps me up at night. Um, Mistakes I've made. Uh, no, I'm really happy in my life, and I don't think right now I have a lot of things that keep me up at night. I'm a pretty good sleeper, so but I do find that like magic time in between when you're just about nodding off or you're kind of like lucid dreaming but you're still
Still awake,
awake,
yeah.
that's when all my ideas is that time, which is annoying if I'm like, okay, I've got to get up at 6 and it's midnight and okay, now you're full of ideas. When I was sitting down at my laptop, you had nothing in here.
It's so
Um,
annoying, right? But
but
yeah,
yeah, I
it really
think
happens.
it's so annoying. But it's and this kind of likens back to what we were saying about the COVID time. It's like once one of your senses or something is taken away, you're put in a dark room, other things become heightened. So when I lay down and it's dark and everything's quiet, that's when whatever's in my subconscious is like, okay, now time for us to pop by.
Yeah, it's quite annoying, right? But yeah, it's really
And
something
I think
that,
that's kind of what,
yeah,
yeah,
the brain does works that way for some reason.
yeah, definitely. And I think that's why a lot of people, like during that pause and that COVID shutdown, a lot of people did change careers, change relationships, and not
Mhm.
just because we were stuck inside with our partners, just because we had time. We never get time to sit and stop and take that time off of work or off of school and say like, okay, if this is the end of the world, do I want to be sitting at this job all day? Do I want to be standing here all day? Do I want to be next to this person? If this is the last, hurrah that we got, what are we going to do with it?
Mm.
And I think a lot of horrible happened during that time, of course, but also I think a lot of good came from taking that time. It slowed a lot of us down. It opened the doors for a lot of new things for a lot of people.
It gave us a lot of like answers to our questions that we never really paid attention to, I think.
Yeah, it brought a lot of clarity
Yeah,
into my life for sure.
for sure. Yeah, for
Um
me as
it,
well.
I changed like everything. So yeah, and I got like all this good time to be home with my little kiddo back then, and it was like I'll never forget
Mm,
those years with him and I. So it was a gift in a lot of ways,
that's
obviously
true.
horrific.
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
lot of ways, but
You take the good with the
yeah,
bad, I think.
with everything. And
Mm.
I think that a lot, I mean, there's so much going on right now in the world, of course, but a lot of times when things are so horrible, we are only focused on that and we feel like, oh, we can't be happy because this is going on, or we can't be joyful because this is happening, or we can't say this was a good year for me because it wasn't a good year for other people. But why not? We should be able
Mm.
to say that.
That's true.
There's no it's not going to make the dark times darker if we're looking for the light.
Yeah, that's some quotable quote right there.
Quotables.
Yeah, but I mean, for you, did when you started writing, did something like changed in your like day, like how you go about the day? Obviously, you said earlier that it's something that you think about, and then on the weekend kind of like just arrange all the stuff that you've written, like all those paragraphs that you've written, I guess messily before, but yeah, how did it change
Yeah.
your routine? Did it change how you like even talk to people or talk to yourself about like these topics?
Um, it definitely, I don't know that it changed my routine so much. My son is always gone to his dad's on the weekends. So that's usually when I had two focused days to work. Even before I wrote, when I worked in the hair salon or waitress, I would work, double shifts and just like I would get all my work done on the weekends. So I was really used to that schedule so that during the week, his whole life, I could be pretty much a stay at home mom, give or take a few hours here and there. So my days now are pretty much still school drop offs, school pickups, driving him, this, working out, doing the things. So my day gets eaten up really fast. And I think if I pressured myself into writing every single day, like sitting down and writing every single day in this point in my life, it would just add so much frustration to me.
Mm.
So I just kind of leave it. And at the start, I was like, I have to post every week on Substack and I have to do this. And I had all these fake parameters for
Mm.
myself, which it just didn't make me happy. And I never want to post something because I feel like I have to post something. And I don't ever post anything because I'm pressured into posting something. I'll post 3 times in a day or not for 3 weeks if that's
Right.
how it works out.
Mm.
But and right now I have the luxury of that. No one's paying me, right? Like I'm not if I'm a paid on staff somewhere, of course I'm gonna write something every week if that's what they want. But right now I have the luxury to arrange my work, arrange around my kid's schedule, be present for him. And so then yeah, just little bits of time here and there. I do a lot of like on my notes on my phone, sitting in the car, waiting for him while he's at boxing, just kind of taking it down, taking it down, taking it down. And then when I have the day, usually a Saturday, I just copy and paste it all into a document. And then
Mm.
I just go through, go through, go through and see what's worth keeping, what's worth saving somewhere else, what belongs, what doesn't, it's like a chiseling away at a statue, just taking
Right.
away what's not supposed to be there. And I really like to write, like straightforward. I'm not trying to add in, sparkly prose and
Yeah.
do this stuff. And not that I don't love that. I love that. I love reading that. But for me, I want to I want my stories to read like I'm sitting here telling you the story.
Mm.
And that's, I never felt like I was like a writer. I just feel like I'm a storyteller. I like telling a funny story.
I
And
think
that's
that's
how
one
I
of
want
the
my
one of my favorite things about whenever I read your posts it's always like I feel like I already know you, like we're already friends. Like it's really one of those things that it's very
Yeah.
genuine. It's comes off so naturally, and you just know that that is your
Thank
voice.
you.
So I really like that. It's one of the things that I admire about your writing. You really are a very good storyteller, and that's for me. I like you. I just don't come off as and say those things very easily. But yeah, yeah, that's why I really like, and I'm really like looking forward to your memoir or whatever you're going to put out to next year. Hopefully we can talk about it more. But yeah, is this
Hmm.
something that you've emulated from some writers, like maybe nonfiction writers or fiction writers that you've discovered recently, or as a kid, maybe a movie? Like, what are those people that you, or filmmakers, writers that you look up to, that you really like?
Well, yeah, I don't know that it would be that I emulate. Obviously, I do. I emulate. Everybody does. But I I would say mostly I pick up from my friends. I hear my mom's voice coming out of my mouth like way too often when I'm talking, or her little like sayings that she says that her grandmother said. And so my son's dad is always like, "Why do you talk like a 150-year-old woman?" And I'm like, "Because my mom said that and her grandma said it, and we're just passed down." So I pick up a lot from the people I'm surrounded with, good or bad. Like I'm around a lot of boys now, so I have a lot of like dude language in my everyday life that I would like to kick. But for writers, I loved reading my son all the Roald Dahl books. Like I think he
Oh,
is so fantastic and a perfect example of like how a short story can have such an impact. Like
absolutely.
he writes so quick and concise and powerful that I love his. I mean, who doesn't? He's incredible.
Yeah.
And then I mean, movies like uh obviously I was raised on all the like 80s movies, so I would be remiss to not say like Overboard and Troop Beverly Hills are my Bibles. And so I just, like I think I really just pick up a lot of stuff from the people I surround myself with, for sure.
Like even like childhood, I think that's the one that really kind of like sticks to you, and something that you carry as you get older. It's something that really resonates. For me, it's Back to the Future. Like I grew up
Oh yeah.
watching, yeah. So for
Yeah.
me, absolutely, like one that, if there was one story that for me is perfect, is would probably be the first, yeah, Back to the Future installment. So yeah, I think it's really the childhood, like stories that we made an impact in our life, that just carries that we carry with, even as we get older.
Oh, for sure. And I think, yeah, the things that you watch or read in childhood really like I can't remember a lot of my like day-to-day life in childhood, but what I remember is every word to every Madonna song, or
Yeah.
every line to every Goldie Hawn movie, or like my brain, you just absorb things so powerfully when you're a kid.
You're like a sponge, obviously, when you were a kid,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you talked about, you mentioned your mom, and your mom is actually on Substack, which
Oh yeah.
is amazing. I follow her.
Oh
Subscribe to
yes.
her. So it's funny because some stories that she was like talking about is talking about you and your relationship with her. So I'm like,
I know, I told her.
yeah, it's like I'm getting two from two perspectives, like from your perspective and your mom. It's which is always very like valuable, because you don't really know yourself until someone else like mentions it. And obviously the mom, our mothers are the greatest. Our relationships are usually like the closest, and for me, I also have the same relationship with my mom. But how did you get her into writing on Substack?
Well, my mother she's into everything. You can't like that. that woman has more energy in her 70s than I had in my 20s. Like she does it all. She is everything. So she's written for a long time, and mostly poems. And so
Hmm.
when I started my Substack, and my stepdad's a writer, he's a screenwriter. Um, and when I started my Substack, I was telling her about it, and I said, "This is a really great like thing. You could put all your poems here, and then us kids and grandkids could have all your poems, so they're not just stuck in a box somewhere in
Right.
your
Yeah.
condo." Um, and she was like, "Okay, yeah, definitely, I'll put my poems on there." So I didn't really know she was going to just.
And how did you help her be on subject, or
No,
she worked on like you worked the
I mean,
computer?
when she was here last time, I helped her learn the difference between a direct message and a note, which is helpful.
Mhm, yeah.
And
I can imagine like what could have been posted there that would have been should have been private, right?
most things should have been private. And then go down the list of like, Mom, please don't tell people where I live. Don't give my address.
Fair.
Here are the men to block immediately. Here are the
Mhm.
nice ones.
Yes. There might be
Here's
scammers.
France. Yeah. Yeah, here's France. She's lovely. Follow her. Subscribe
Yes.
to her.
Oh, that's so nice.
Um, yeah, but one of my wonderful subscribers, Chris Keller, who's so supportive, he messaged me a couple days ago and he was like, "Oh my God, I just found out Pam is your mom. I've read all her stuff and now I have to go back and reread and see what's about you." He's like, "My mind is blown." And I was like, "Yep, that's my mother." And I was like, "Did she invite you to her house?" And he goes, "Well, yeah, next time I'm down there, she said we should get dinner." And I was like, "That sounds about right."
It's amazing. She's gaining friends and she's inviting people
Yes,
over.
yes, and she has she's so cute, and she has her little Substack with her picture on it on a business card, so she takes it
Yes,
out and about in town
that's so
and
cool.
gives it to people to subscribe to her. So
Nice.
there, she's the consummate businesswoman. There's no shame in her
I love
game.
it. I
So
love it.
we'll have to put her little we'll have I tried to keep her separate from mine for only the reason of, one, she doesn't know the difference between a note and a DM.
Hmm.
Also, there's things she writes on there that I'm like, "Mom, no." So this will get a lot of people to read. Like, don't, but I love you. I love you so much, and don't use my name. Um, but she does anyways. Or if she's
Anyways, yeah.
or if she starts like when she starts with like the pictures of me, and I'm like, "Okay, baby pictures fine. Teenage years, I will shut your Substack down so fast, woman. You don't even start."
Absolutely, for me as well. Like, just don't put my teenage
No.
photos where it's like awkward and like you're like gangly or something. You have some weird
Oh
hair.
yeah, no.
Yeah, no, no way.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Agree.
The baby bangs were not a good look. Yeah, so yes, I try to keep her separate, but there was too many comments on my stuff and me saying "love you, mama" before people could put two and two together. Although I do have a lot of like very loving people in my comments, and we do say "I love you" back and forth. So I'm a lucky girl.
I think it's already
But
out there. Like
yes,
everyone could put two and two
it's out
together.
there.
Yeah.
It's out there. She's gonna be, 100 times more famous than me, and that is fine. We love that. She is the star. And yes, so we'll link her below
Yeah,
to
yeah, definitely.
drive some traffic her way.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. No problem. I love her stories, and one that I really like was about you mentioned about the bar. You had a story about this dive bar that you frequented, I think, or you went to, and then I think it
Mhm.
was before that where she mentioned about like she had this business where I think I can't even remember. It was a I think it's more of like a commune thing, communal thing. But yeah,
Yes.
I like,
Yeah.
it's one of the
It
very interesting stories where it just went on, and for me, like, wow, this is very colorful life.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Imagine living it. No.
Yeah, which is why for me, I think this is
we
better than
we had
fiction. Yeah.
fun. We had a fun childhood. Yeah, when I was 12, we moved out of our house and she rented this huge 1920s strawberry packing warehouse that was
Oh
empty,
yeah, there you go.
and
Yeah.
she turned it into a like an all ages alcohol free nightclub, and then there was a
Yes.
vintage store next door, and it was kind of on like a commune we lived, and we lived in a single wide pink trailer behind the warehouse, so that we had this giant old warehouse where we could keep a lot of our stuff, and then we slept in
Wow.
this, me and my mom and my siblings, in this little pink trailer, and there's people that school buses and yurts and
Mm.
stuff sprinkled all around the property. And yeah, we spent, my sister, so she was 8 and I was 12,
Hmm.
and we spent most of our nights there listening to live music, and there was bands and open mic and poetry readings and, plays that would put on little productions and stuff. So we were not separate from creative people our entire
Yeah.
life. Like
Right.
we were we were on the commune, we were living it, we were having a really good time. And live music, we were always going to live music when I was a kid. And it really, yeah, it shaped me to be the crazy creative that I am,
You,
for sure. But
you mentioned about you wanted to act, right? Was it something that you tried pursuing at some point, or you, when you were in high school, maybe, that you tried to act, or you did some acting? Is it something that you picked up when you were
um
a kid?
I think when I was a kid, I wanted to, and then definitely in high school, I only went to high school because there was a drama program. I had done like a summer camp, and I was in a play, and the drama teacher from the high school saw me in the play and came up to me and said, "Oh, you were so funny. When are you going to high school? I want you in my drama class." And I was only 12 and homeschooling at the time. And I was like, "Oh, I'm going to high school next
Mm.
year." And she was like, "Great." And so I told my mom, "Okay, I'm ready to go back to high school now." And she was like, "Okay, well, you're not old enough to go to high school." And I was like, "Okay, but like, I'm going to go." And she was like, "Okay." And I think she was just so excited that I wanted to go back to school, because I just hated school and never went,
Mm.
that she went in, and she should have been a lawyer, because she can finagle and sweet talk and sell you anything. So somehow she was like, "I know she's a year too young, but the placement test, if she passes, can she come?" And they were like, "Okay." So they gave me the test. I passed. I started high school when I was 12. I was very little, and there was 18-year-old boys around, and I was like, "Oh, okay, well, this is it." And so I went to sign up for the drama class, and they were like, "Oh, you can't until you're a sophomore." And I was like, "Well, screw this. I only came to be
Yeah.
in drama.
Right.
I'm out of here." And the drama teacher was also the vice principal, and she's like, "Okay, well, if it's going to keep you in school, like, wait, if it's going to keep you in school, you can do the hair and makeup and costumes for the plays." And I was like, "Sold.
Mm.
Absolutely. I'm sold." So, yeah, so they let me, a freshman, two young freshmen, and I started doing the hair and makeup for the plays. I would always get like a little part, because I would never audition, and I would never in a million years sing a song in front of a auditorium of students
Hmm.
and teachers. That's like, I'd rather be naked. uh I would never audition. So they were always kind enough to give me like a little background part. But
Mm.
mostly I just worked behind the scenes and did hair and makeup. And then when I finished school when I was 16, because I said that's when I'm done, it's done, it's finished, and I left. I went to film school in Vancouver
Oh,
and did hair and or did makeup and special effects, and then ended up doing hair too, and that's kind of how that all started.
it's amazing because it also probably trick. I mean, obviously indirectly, but the exposure of having all these creatives when you were just a child kind of probably inspire you like to be in performing arts, or even having those
Yeah.
dialogues probably have triggered. It's something that I always think about, like if there were instances in our life when we were younger that probably was like a small trigger of how we kind of like went our way towards writing. um, but is it something that you feel you've always wanted to do, or at least maybe, if when you retire, is it something that you feel like you can do and you don't even have to retire from writing?
Yeah, it's I don't think I would ever, I mean, I'm kind of retired now already from hair, but I do it a little bit. I still do it a little bit. But yeah, writing is something that I would never want to stop doing.
Mm.
I I don't have any expectations on selling books, or like, obviously we should all be getting paid. This like thing about poor isn't a virtue. Like, starving artist doesn't mean better artist. We should be getting paid. This is our time. Like, we should be getting paid subscribers. We should be getting paid.
True.
This it's not it's there's no other way to look at it, truly. Like, you are not a better artist if you're working for free. I work enough for free. I'm a mom. My whole
Mm.
day is working for free. Work, like cooking, cleaning, like I do a lot of free stuff for
Mm.
people all day long. Um, Writing art shouldn't be one of them. We should be getting paid. We should be paying people. This is just what it is. But beyond that, I don't have this notion that my art has to support me, because that's so much pressure. I would never put on something that I enjoy so much. Obviously, the dream is to have what you love support you, but that doesn't always, sometimes what you love, turning it into a business becomes not what you love, because it changes shape once you're constantly forced to produce
True.
and make more and please more people. And the bigger you get, even I think with writing, it's like you have more eyes on you. You have more people saying, I don't like that. You have more people going, well, the last thing I posted, and I never think about the audience, which is like, I just don't. I pretend my friend Mandy is the only one that's going to read it. And her and I are like twins. And I know I can just say it and she'll be like, yes, great job. Loved it. And that's like, if she's my only reader, I'm fine. That's
Mm.
amazing. So I just really write for her and don't think about anybody else. But the last thing I wrote, I was like, I have so many sober people that subscribe to me that are so wonderful. I don't want to write about drinking or like being sober for the month of September in any sort of cavalier way that would make them feel like I'm not taking sobriety seriously, because I am, or not respecting it, or any way that would like make someone feel like, oh yeah, okay, well, if she can drink casually, maybe I can drink casually, because
Mm.
that's not right either. Like, my point is, like, we all have to be responsible for our own shit. We all have to decide what's right for us, and we all have to change accordingly.
Mm.
What works for me is not going to work for you or for anybody else.
Exactly.
But when you start, and I'm not saying I have like a ton of eyes on me, but when you start getting more eyes on you and you start knowing more people and more subscribers, you do kind of get that thing where you're like, ugh, is this gonna upset someone that I care about? Or is this, but you really have to put that away.
Yeah.
My intentions are pure. I want to make people laugh. I want to be open with people so that they can say, oh, yeah, me too. Or, oh, I thought about taking a break from drinking. Or, oh, yeah, maybe wine's not suiting me. Or, oh, maybe me and my ex husband getting along great isn't so weird. Like,
Mhm.
maybe this is what's best for the kids to try it this way. my intentions are always to just say how I feel and put it out there, and hopefully someone get something out of it,
Yeah.
even if it's just like a laugh, right?
Mm.
But
Or a
when we put
lesson.
this, yes,
Mhm.
exactly. Or, yes, me too, or I feel the same way. But when we put this like pressure on ourselves, this monetary value to what our work is worth, or like thinking, okay, I'm going to write a book and then I'm going to be a millionaire because I'm going to sell that book. The odds are slim. It's not, there's a lot of people that write books, and I'm not saying it's
Yeah.
impossible and that we shouldn't write books, but we also need to I don't know, I just think not put that much pressure on our art to support us.
I think that's very like poignant, because for me also, like at some point, once you get a lot more readers, you're gonna be a bit more critical, or at least you feel like you're gonna be more critical of your work. So I think for me, I also try to like, okay, I shouldn't look at the numbers. I shouldn't look at the, but it's so hard, right? But because it's online,
Oh,
like there's so many like
we have all the metrics. Yeah.
yeah, they flash. That's the dashboard, right? You see all the the graphs,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's very difficult to avoid that. So how do you do that? Like, how do you just like, I guess, do you have your time off? You don't go on. You don't post on notes. Do you have a discipline where, okay, I'll just not just be offline for a while. Like, do you try
Oh
to,
no,
when once you start becoming like obsessed about those things?
I'm chronically on Substack.
Same.
I'm just I'm just online all the time. Yeah, I am just on Substack. Um I think it's because I'm in my 40s that I can separate myself from it.
Mm.
If I was doing this in my 20s, like in my 20s, like did I have social media? Was it MySpace? I think it was MySpace, and I had to borrow someone's car to drive to the Seattle library to get on the dial-up computer to check my MySpace to see if that boy from the band like liked a picture, and then I'd have to go back from the library.
So
So it
throwback.
just,
Yeah. Yeah.
in my 20s, if I had this access um to people and online validation in my 20s, if you guys think I'm a monster now, I would have been a monster. I Everything would have affected me. I would have been one of those influencers. Like, I would have done it all, and it just would have been terrible for me, for my self-esteem, for me, personally. So I think in my 40s, not that I'm not addicted to Substack. I fully am, but I know that I am. I can see that I am.
Self
And
awareness is
what I'm
everything. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and I can separate I can separate that from who I am. And it's not to say that I don't deeply care about my friendships on there. I consider you a friend, like a actual real friend. And
Same.
I've made, Abby Wade and I are like real life friends
Mm.
from meeting on there. We text almost every day. So I'm not saying that this isn't real life and real life friends, but I think that I can separate myself there, because there's a lot of random people that can have access to you, that can say like anything they want. And I get mostly 99.9% of the time really good comments, really good feedback, really nice, thoughtful things. But there's every once in a while someone throws a wrench in the machine.
Mm.
And if I wasn't the age I am now, I would really be affected by that. I
Right.
would, you know, it, and it does affect, it's always going to affect you if someone's rude. But now I can separate myself from that life and the life I lead here. And it goes both ways. Like, my son is so funny and dry, and he's like, whenever you tell a story about me, I just sound like an asshole. And I'm like, no, it's just because you're quick-witted and you're funny and you're dry. But the other day I was like, oh my God, two people on Substack messaged me today saying my story inspired them to write another story. And they're writing a story inspired by my story. And that's so cool. And my kid
Yeah.
just looks at me and goes, he just looks at me and goes, so what do you think, you're hot shit? And I was like, okay,
Oh my.
not anymore.
Thanks for
And
pointing it
obviously,
out.
okay. So I always have someone to just knock me down to
Yeah,
earth a
right.
little bit.
Keep it grounded. Like we like our family. That's the truest like supporters. They keep
Oh,
you, yeah, they keep
yeah.
you in check.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And he is so lovely and supportive, and obviously was just teasing. But yeah, it's always like you have to separate yourself from that online validation, which is very nice. But you know, these are not the people that are seeing me in my
True.
pajamas in the morning doing the school drop off, or at my worst when I'm stressed and frustrated and the internet's not working or things like that. Like, the people that I surround myself with would never let me float off to space. So Substack is a nice break to have people
Yeah,
saying we love you.
and also like I know that Substack has a lot of like also like flaws. I guess we have room for
Mhm.
improvement with the app, with the notifications and things like that. But for what it's worth, we really I like the community. I think I wouldn't have met
Oh,
you
mhm.
or a lot of the other subscribers and followers that we've encountered along the way if it weren't for that that very unique, and I don't see it in any like on any other platform. So I think
Mm-mm.
for all the flaws, that's one thing that I really value on Substack. And I'm not promoting like I'm not paid, but yeah, it's more of just really um, the whole organic way of getting all the connections, the real connections. And I think that's something that is valuable, and I hope that we keep improving, and we keep like growing. And I think for personally, I root for people like the ones that I'm subscribed to. I really follow them, and obviously one of them is you. So it's I like what the progression, all the stories that you went that way, you went this way. So I like even the stuff that you feel like maybe they're not your best. I would still consume them, and I think that's what's so important about always sticking to your voice on Substack. And yeah, just yeah, obviously I really like being online, being on Substack. I'm also obsessed with it. But you're right about trying to keep it real, keep it realistic, not getting um, I guess into that whole, oh, I have to be with my followers. I have to keep posting. I have to keep a schedule. And yeah, I think that's something that I also try my best to not be obsessed with at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, it's still like you have to keep it to your writing or your stories or whatever is the point that you made, why you're on Substack. But for me, of course, we've gone through a lot of topics. I think for me, I love this is why I like talking to creatives across the board, whether you're a fiction writer, a personal storyteller like yourself. But do you have any advice, at least generally? We can go over like whichever direction you want to go with that question. Like, what is your advice on being on Substack, being a creative, stuff like that, keeping relationships and things like that?
Mhm. Mm, I mean, I'm no expert on any of this, on any of those topics, but also I kind of am.
Yes.
Uh, I think I think Substack is kind of like anything, and you just can't overthink it. Like, I see people posting notes, and this isn't to call anyone out. And if it's someone I love on there, I like them anyways. But posting a note saying like, I've got, you know, no ideas for notes and da da da. And I was like, you don't, you know what? You don't need an idea for a note. You need an
Mm,
idea for your post. Like, we need to, save that brain energy for posting and writing. Notes should be like, hi, here, I'm here, I see you, this is what I'm doing today. Or an update, like you post like updates on what you're gonna post next for your writing,
mm,
or share different things. Or like, I love restacking other people's work. And like, if you can't think of a note to post but you want to still be active, there's days I don't post notes. um but I try to still like read a couple things, or even if I
restack.
haven't read it yet, restack something, if even if I'm going to read it later, just to support people, just to support my friends. And I think, just, yeah, no stress should be put into posting notes on any sort of timeline or schedule. Or I'll post 10 a day, I don't give an f. Like,
Yeah,
I'll
same.
post, like, I don't care, I will post whatever whenever I want. And if it's a week and I haven't posted something, I that's also fine.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not worried that anyone's going to forget about me. Also, like, it's kind of nice to have a breather between stuff. Like, I sometimes can't get caught up on reading all the things I want. I mean, not sometimes, always I can't caught up. But people that, are posting something every single day, not just a note, like a post, I think sometimes it's just a little bit like, we need a second to process this. I want to read, like, I want to read your story, and then I want to process it, and I want to think about it before I'm then like, oh shit, I got to read the next story. Like, I think consistently posting is wonderful, but also I think if your goal is to like keep your readers engaged and keep them liking and commenting, I think a little bit of space in between your is not a bad thing. I actually think it's a good thing.
That's true. And it's one of those things where, yeah, ironically, when you post, someone will unsubscribe. It has happened. And it's
Oh,
normal. It's reality
definitely.
now.
Every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, every time. I don't get a notification when someone unsubscribes. I have those turned off since the beginning, because I just knew I'll just like drive to their
Yeah.
house and be like, hello, what did I say? Like,
Tell me.
excuse me?
Yeah.
What part of that could have possibly offended you? So I just know myself, and that's one of those things that I would just be like, especially if it was like someone I knew in real life, like, I
Yeah.
would drive to their house.
I will find you.
Knock knock. You can't unsubscribe from me for real.
Mhm.
uh but yeah, I think just like trying not to look at that, because I'll get unsubscribes and I'll mention it and stuff too, but then usually I get like 10 more subscribers from that post.
Exactly.
So I think
It
it all
evens
just
out.
it evens
Yeah.
it evens out, and the good ones are the ones that stay. I think if someone truly doesn't like what I'm talking about, or finds it boring, or whatever, like, bye. Like, okay, I get
Mm.
that. I understand. All the best.
Yeah, and also,
Like,
yeah,
bye bye.
something that I'm still trying to like really learn, but to have a thick skin. Like, an unsubscribe is not the end of the world, because yeah, you're right. They will get replaced by new subscribers. The ones that will
Oh,
stick. So it's not that bad. I think that the more that you
no.
post, also the more that you'll find your people, your tribe. So I'm totally
This
agreeable to that as well.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. But of course it hurts. Like, I can
Mhm.
talk all this stuff too, but I'm a person. I have feelings, so I do get my feelings hurt sometimes on there. Um but I don't let that stop me.
True.
And
Yeah.
that's the difference. Like, you can take something to heart without it changing your heart. Like, you can think about something and you can go, like, if somebody says something to me that's mean and it's not true, I can go, well, it's not true. If someone
Mm.
says something to me that's mean and it's true, I already know. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. That's true. I am like that. So either way, whichever way it is, I can just let it pretty much just roll off. Like,
Mm,
yeah, you're right. Or no, you're full of it. So you just
yeah.
flick it away and go about your day.